The holiday season can be a challenging time for therapists. Between the increased workload with your clients who need lots of before and after support around navigating complex family relationships or issues around the holidays themselves, managing client cancellations, navigating your own holiday stress, and planning for the new year, it's easy to feel stretched thin. Give yourself permission to step back, set boundaries, and use this time to focus on what matters to you, both personally and professionally.
Welcome to the Colleague Down the Hall podcast. This episode is sponsored by the Collab Oasis Clinical Consultation Groups. Hi, I'm Jeanene Wolfe, and I'm your colleague down the hall. I have a passion for helping fellow therapists get the clinical and collegial support we all need to do this work. And wow, it just keeps getting harder every day. I'm the founder and facilitator of the Collab Oasis Clinical Consultation Groups. I have been a social worker for almost 30 years, and I own a successful solo online private practice. More of us than ever are practicing in solo or online practices, and we all need colleagues to process cases with, commiserate with on those really hard days, and also to celebrate our successes with. In this podcast, I'll bring you insights about trends and changes in our field and sit down with amazing therapists who are doing amazing work. We'll discuss fictionalized cases, ways to practice sustainably, and of course, there will be plenty of laughing. I love laughing with friends. I'm so glad to have you as one of my colleagues down the hall.
Hello, everyone. You're listening to another episode of the Colleague Down the Hall podcast. I'm your host, Jeanene Wolfe, and today we're going to talk about acknowledging the reality of holiday cancellations. As therapists, we know that the holiday season can bring unique challenges to our practices, and one of the most common is an increase in cancellations and no-shows during times around the holiday. And while many of us have not seen this as consistently as we did before 2020, it does seem to be a trend that is resuming. So during this time, clients may be traveling, hosting family, feeling overwhelmed by financial pressures or holiday shopping, or prioritizing holiday activities over therapy. It's not uncommon for the weeks leading up to Christmas and New Year's to result in lighter caseloads than expected. The good news: this is something we can anticipate and prepare for. By planning ahead, we can reduce the frustrations that come with last-minute cancellations, maintain your workflow, and even use this time as an opportunity to tackle other areas of your practice or perhaps some more personal time for yourself and your family. Here are some practical strategies you can implement to prepare for and manage this. Start by addressing the holidays in session now. And just as a note, this is something that I do for Thanksgiving as well. So next year, I will be offering this sort of advice a little earlier in the year. One of the most effective ways to anticipate cancellations is to talk with your clients about the holiday season now. I've been doing this for years, and it works beautifully. Bring up scheduling early. Proactively ask clients about their holiday plans and how they might impact their sessions. For example, you can say, the holidays are coming up and I know things get busy for many people. Let's look ahead and see if there are any sessions you might need to reschedule. This gives clients an opportunity to make changes with plenty of notice. A few weeks ago, I sat down and looked at the holidays and figured out what amount of time I wanted off, what days, what hours, etc., so that I could have a little lighter workload. So I've been talking to my clients saying, let's look ahead to Christmas week and New Year's week. So is this a time that you would like to still have a session and we can move you to a different day if I'm going to be having days off? Or these are the hours I'm working, would you like to use one of those session times instead? And all of my clients have been very responsive, and they actually appreciate the advance notice to have this conversation since it is such a busy time of year. You also want to reinforce policies. This is also a good time to gently remind clients about your cancellation policy. If you have a late cancellation fee, ensure they understand when it applies. At the same time, decide if you'd like to be flexible during this time or if you plan to hold firm to your boundaries. Whatever you choose, communicate it early. I also like to give the example that it might be a busy time of year, but if you choose to keep your session, that's great. I'll be prepared to see you. But if at the last minute you want to go Christmas shopping or to hang out with a friend, unfortunately, I will need to enforce my cancellation policy. That's also something that I bring up during my intake. Encourage a focus on self-care. The holidays are often stressful for clients, in addition to ourselves, which makes therapy even more valuable during this time. Frame therapy as an essential part of their holiday self-care routine. For instance, you could say, I know this time of year can be hectic, but having consistency in therapy might help you navigate the stress that comes with the holidays. This is especially important for clients who have complex family dynamics that can disrupt their life in many ways. Another way to manage cancellations is to anticipate and adjust your schedule ahead of time. So even if it's not time that you're planning to take time off, you might want to consider condensing those hours so that you don't have one appointment at 10 in the morning and one appointment at 4 in the afternoon, and you have all of that time. If you're telehealth, that's not such a big deal usually, because you're at home, you can do other things, but it's also annoying to have your workday spread out like this. So if you know clients are likely to cancel, in addition to talking to them ahead of time, consider consolidating your caseload into fewer days during the weeks of Christmas and New Year's. Plan blocks of client time. For example, if you normally see clients Monday through Friday, consider moving everyone to just 3 or 4 days during those weeks, or maybe even 2 days during those weeks. That's what I'm doing this year. Let clients know that your schedule will be more limited due to the holidays and ask if they'd like to shift their session time. I also look at my client load and can anticipate those that, for example, have kids who will be home from school or always travel out of state for the holidays. So I can anticipate ahead of time how many I think I might see, and that will help decide what the hours that I'm going to actually work are. Set boundaries. If you're planning to take time off during the holidays, be clear about your availability and let clients know well in advance. Again, this can be part of the conversation about who's going to be there and who isn't. This not only helps you manage your time, but also sets the expectation that therapy won't be available last minute. Of course, we always have clients that need to be seen for one reason or another, so be really careful about adding in extra sessions if you don't have to. Prepare for no-shows. Even with a condensed schedule, you'll still likely have some cancellations. So you want to mentally prepare for this so you're not caught off guard. And have a plan in place for how to use that time. So when cancellations do happen at the last minute, it's easy to feel frustrated. Of course you do. Or like you're losing valuable time and money, because we know that if we're not seeing clients, we're not making money. And it's so hard to budget when we don't know what client sessions we will actually have. Instead of letting it derail your day, have a plan for how you can use that time productively. Look at different areas such as administrative work, practice growth, professional development, and personal care. For administrative work, use the downtime to catch up on tasks that often get pushed aside, and this is going to come as no surprise to you, like finishing progress notes, organizing client files, or updating your practice management software. This can help you head into the new year feeling organized and refreshed. It's also a good time, if you haven't already done so, to start doing some goal setting for your practice next year. Practice growth. Take this time to revisit your marketing or business plans. Are your website and social media profiles up to date? Are there tweaks you want to make to your processes or materials for the new year? Use this quieter time to focus on long-term goals. And again, you might want to consider quarterly planning for the coming year. Professional development. Consider spending time on continuing education, reading, or other professional development activities. This could be a great opportunity to learn something new or deepen your expertise in a specific area. This is also a great time to go back and listen to some of the Colleague Down the Hall episodes that you've gotten behind on. Personal care. Don't forget about yourself. Use the lighter schedule to rest, recharge, or spend time with loved ones or in some way that is fulfilling and meaningful to you and restorative as well. The holiday season can be hectic for us too, and it's important to prioritize our own well-being. How many times have we told our clients that the therapists are the worst at following our own advice? Now for some additional ideas for navigating the season. Offer telehealth options. For clients who may be traveling or unable to attend in-person sessions or telehealth sessions, offer telehealth options. For clients who may be traveling or unable to attend in-person sessions, offering telehealth as an alternative can help reduce cancellations. Let clients know this option is available ahead of time. You want to make sure, though, that you understand the rules by your licensing body around where you can see clients. So in the state of Virginia, I can be anywhere, but my clients have to be in the state of Virginia during their session time. Offer holiday-specific sessions. If appropriate, consider offering short-term holiday-specific sessions focused on stress management, mindfulness, or coping skills. This can appeal to clients who may otherwise skip therapy for this time. I also want to add in here that we shouldn't be trying to convince our clients to come. We can give them options so they can understand that while it might be a hectic time of year, there's different ways that we can support them than our usual treatment goals, or bring in some extra resources for those who really are going to be struggling with their time during the holidays in general or during time with family. While it's important to maintain boundaries, some flexibility can go a long way during the holiday season. Consider adjusting your schedule temporarily to accommodate your clients' needs while also balancing your own. So again, that goes back to determining how many clients you think you might see, adjusting your schedule to accommodate those clients, as well as deciding what days and times you might want to take off from work. And if you have followed my advice with past episodes and you have a financial fund to put aside for personal leave, that would be a great time to dip into this. So if you have time that you have money set aside that you can use for sick leave, vacation time, holiday leave, don't feel guilty about using that, because that's why you have that fund to begin with. And you want to track patterns for the future. As you navigate this season, take note of trends in your practice. Which week saw the most cancellations? Which strategies worked best? This data can help you plan even more effectively next year. Although we do have to remember that we work with complex humans, and so we can only do as much planning as we can do. Finally, a reminder. The holiday season can be a challenging time for therapists. Between the increased workload with your clients who need lots of before and after support around navigating complex family relationships or issues around the holidays themselves, managing client cancellations, navigating your own holiday stress, and planning for the new year, it's easy to feel stretched thin. Give yourself permission to step back, set boundaries, and use this time to focus on what matters to you, both personally and professionally. The holidays may come with their fair share of disruptions, but with a little preparation and flexibility, they can also be a time of opportunity. Whether that's connecting more deeply with your client, tackling your to-do list, or simply giving yourself the gift of rest, this season can work for you. So for all of you hardworking therapists out there, and I know there are so many of you, please remember our work is hard, but it doesn't have to be lonely.
Thank you so much for listening to the Colleague Down the Hall podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to colleaguedownthehall.com, where you'll be able to learn more about getting the clinical support you need and resources to help you work in a supported, sustainable way. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your therapy friends and colleagues. Subscribe to the podcast, and if you love this episode, please leave a review.